In the 1970s, and especially down south, quick and clever was the name of the game. Back then, these speedy dishes meant hot lunches before school, supper in a jiffy, or a warm plate ready before Dad got home. Why did the easiest meals that we loved disappear first? Tomato soup cake. Whoever decided to bake a cake with tomato soup deserves a medal, or maybe a psych evaluation. But this cake is actually good. It's moist, spiced with cinnamon and cloves, and has a subtle tang that keeps you guessing. In the 70s, it was the ultimate secret ingredient dessert. Moms would serve it at the PTA bake sale, grinning as people tried to figure out what made it so good. The recipe was a favorite for after-school snacks, and if you told someone what was in it, you'd get looks like you just admitted to putting ketchup on ice cream. But trust me, it works. If you're feeling brave, dust off your bundt pan and see if you can fool your family too. Pimento cheese spread. Pimento cheese was the South's answer to everything. Sandwiches? Sure. Crackers? You bet. Celery sticks? Why not? Every family had their own version. But the basics were sharp cheddar, mayo, and those little jars of pimentos that always seemed to multiply in the pantry. Some folks added a pinch of cayenne, others a splash of Worcestershire. The result was a creamy, tangy spread that could turn a plain lunch into a party. It was the original house special, and it's still the only food that can unite a room faster than a winning bingo card. Chicken a la king on toast. This dish made every home cook feel a little bit fancy, even if the closest they got to royalty was a deck of cards. Chicken a la king was the ultimate way to dress up leftover chicken. Just toss it in a creamy sauce with mushrooms and peas, then ladle it over toast points. The whole thing came together in a flash, but looked like you'd spent all afternoon at the stove. In the 70s, this was the go-to for surprise guests or company nights. If you wanted to impress, you'd add a sprinkle of paprika or a splash of sherry. It's proof that sometimes a little sauce goes a long way. Tuna noodle skillet. Before one-pot meals were a trend, tuna noodle skillet was already winning hearts and saving time. Canned tuna, egg noodles, peas, and a can of cream of mushroom soup. Stir it all together, and dinner was done before the commercials ended. The best part? Topping it with crushed potato chips or buttery breadcrumbs for a little crunch. It was comfort food at its finest, and every bite tasted like home. Egg Foo Young Sandwiches. Egg Foo Young might sound like a takeout order, but in the 1970s South, it was a clever way to jazz up eggs and leftovers. Whisk up eggs with bean sprouts, green onions, and whatever veggies were on hand. Fry into little patties, and sandwich them between slices of soft white bread. A drizzle of soy sauce gave it just enough exotic flair to make dinner feel special. These sandwiches were quick, filling, and just different enough to break up the meatloaf monotony. Plus, they were a great way to sneak vegetables into picky eaters. Call it omelet surprise, and watch the plates clear. Cornbread waffles. Waffle irons weren't just for breakfast in the 70s. They were the secret weapon for turning cornbread into a crispy, golden treat. Cornbread waffles took just minutes to whip up and were perfect for sopping up chili, stew, or even a drizzle of honey. The outside was crunchy, the inside tender, and the whole thing was ready before you could say, "Supper's on." Some folks added jalapenos or shredded cheese for an extra kick. If you wanted to impress, serve them stacked with barbecue pork or fried chicken. It was Southern ingenuity at its tastiest. Ham salad surprise. Ham salad was the original clean out the fridge recipe, and the surprise was always what you'd find inside. Chopped ham, sweet pickles, celery, and a generous spoonful of mayo made the base. But after that, anything went. Hard-boiled eggs, olives, or even a dash of hot sauce. Spread on crackers or between slices of bread, it was the ultimate lunchbox solution. The real fun was in the mixing. Every batch was a little different, and every bite was a little adventure. If you had leftover ham from Sunday dinner, you knew what was coming for Monday lunch. Jiffy corn pudding. Corn pudding was the side dish that never overstayed its welcome. Using a box of Jiffy corn muffin mix, a can of creamed corn, and a splash of milk, you could whip up a sweet, custardy casserole in minutes. It was a cult favorite at family gatherings, and everyone swore their version was the best. Some added sugar for extra sweetness. Others tossed in green chilies for a little heat. The texture was somewhere between spoon bread and souffle. A true Southern classic that's as easy as it is irresistible. Sardine salad on rye. Sardines might not win any popularity contests today, but back then, they were the secret weapon for a quick, protein-packed lunch. Mash them with a little mayo, chopped onion, and a squeeze of lemon. Then pile high on rye bread, eyes and all. The flavor was bold, the nutrition unbeatable, and the prep time practically non-existent. This was the kind of sandwich you either loved or politely ignored at the potluck table. But those who loved it really loved it. It's a taste of the past that's ready for a comeback. Quick pickle relish. Impatience was the mother of invention, especially when it came to pickles. Quick pickle relish was a staple for anyone who didn't want to wait weeks for a proper brine. Dice up cucumbers and onions, toss with vinegar and sugar, and let it sit while you set the table. In 10 minutes, you had a tangy, crunchy relish perfect for hot dogs, deviled eggs, or anything that needed a little zip. It was summer in a bowl, no canning required. Velveeta cheese fudge. Let's talk about Velveeta cheese fudge. Now before you run for the hills, hear me out. The first time I saw this recipe, I thought it was a typo. Like someone meant to write velvet and got confused. But nope, this is real life. In the 70s, home cooks were all about experimenting, and Velveeta was practically a food group in the South. The idea was simple. Melt that orange block of cheese with chocolate, sugar, and butter, and you'd get a fudge that was oddly smooth, creamy, and not at all cheesy in flavor. The first bite was always met with skepticism, but the second bite usually sealed the deal. This recipe was a favorite for holiday trays and church bake sales, partly for the taste and partly for the conversation. Guess the secret ingredient became a running joke at every family gathering. It's proof that Southerners will try anything once, and sometimes it's actually delicious. The real fun was in the reactions. People would scrunch up their faces, take a bite, and then ask for the recipe. If you're feeling adventurous, give it a try. Just don't tell anyone what's in it until after they've tasted it. Salmon patties. Salmon patties were the weeknight answer to what's for dinner when payday was still a few days away. Canned salmon, cracker crumbs, an egg, and a sprinkle of Old Bay. Mix, shape, and fry until golden. These little patties were crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, and perfect with a squeeze of lemon or a dollop of tartar sauce. They were a sign of resourcefulness and a little coastal flair, even if your nearest ocean was 1,000 miles away. Some folks added a dash of hot sauce or a handful of chopped onion for extra flavor. Serve them with a side of green beans or mashed potatoes, and you've got a meal that feels special without breaking the bank. Kids loved them because they were fun to eat, and adults loved them because they were quick and filling. There was something comforting about the smell of salmon patties frying in the pan, filling the kitchen with the promise of a good meal. If you've never tried them, you're missing out on a Southern classic that's ready in about 10 minutes. Mock apple pie. No apples? No problem. Mock apple pie was the Depression-era miracle that stuck around for decades. Ritz crackers, sugar, and lemon juice worked kitchen magic to create a filling that tasted just like apple pie. The first time I saw this recipe, I thought it was a joke, like someone was pulling my leg. But one bite, and I was a believer. The crackers soften and absorb the flavors, creating a texture and taste that's eerily similar to real apples. This recipe was especially popular when apples were out of season or out of budget. The best part was watching guests try to guess the ingredients. Most never did. It was a sweet slice of culinary history that still surprises today. Some folks added cinnamon or a splash of vanilla for extra flavor. Serve it warm with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and you've got a dessert that's ready in no time. Cheese dreams. Open-faced sandwiches topped with gooey cheese and a slice of tomato, broiled until bubbly. What's not to love? Cheese dreams were the midnight snack of choice for many a Southern teen, and the perfect quick lunch for busy moms. Sometimes a slice of ham or a sprinkle of paprika joined the party. The beauty of cheese dreams was in their simplicity. Just bread, cheese, and whatever else you had on hand. In the 70s, they were a staple at slumber parties and after-school gatherings. The cheese would get all melty and golden, and the tomato would soften just enough to release its juices. Some folks added a dash of Worcestershire or a sprinkle of herbs for extra flavor. Serve them with a side of pickles or chips, and you've got a meal that's ready in about 10 minutes. If you're looking for a quick, comforting snack, cheese dreams are the way to go. Just don't blame me if you start craving them at midnight. Peanut butter and bacon toast. If you've never tried peanut butter and bacon together, you're missing out on one of life's great flavor combos. Crispy bacon atop creamy peanut butter on hot toast was a breakfast favorite in many Southern homes. The salty sweet crunch was pure comfort, and it took less than 10 minutes to make. This was the kind of breakfast that could get you through a long day at school or work. Some folks added a drizzle of honey or a sprinkle of cinnamon for extra flavor. Kids loved it because it was fun to eat, and adults loved it because it was quick and satisfying. There was something magical about the way the peanut butter melted into the toast, and the bacon added just the right amount of crunch. If you're looking for a breakfast that's a little out of the ordinary, give this one a try. Just don't be surprised if it becomes a new favorite. Shrimp Wiggle. Shrimp Wiggle was a name you either laughed at or leaned into. A creamy concoction of shrimp and green peas in a white sauce, spooned over toast or rice. It wiggled on the plate, and it jiggled in your spoon. But it always delivered warmth in a way only vintage meals can. It came from military cookbooks and made its way into American homes during the post-war years, lingering well into the 70s. This was not just a meal, it was a testament to what you could do with a can of shrimp, a handful of frozen peas, and a dream. Eventually, it slipped away into obscurity, replaced by boxed dinners and microwavable trays. But there is something defiant about a dish like Shrimp Wiggle. It asks you to remember a time when food could be strange, honest, and still make you feel whole. And if it makes you smile to say it out loud, even better. Pineapple cheese salad. This jiggly, sweet and savory salad was a fixture at church socials and family reunions. Pineapple chunks, shredded cheddar, and mini marshmallows, all bound together with mayo or whipped topping. The first time I saw this salad, I wasn't sure what to make of it. Pineapple and cheese? Really? But one bite, and I was hooked. The sweetness of the pineapple and marshmallows balanced the sharpness of the cheddar, creating a flavor that's hard to describe but impossible to forget. Some folks added a sprinkle of nuts or a dash of paprika for extra crunch. The real fun was in the reactions. Half the guests loved it, the other half just didn't get it. But it always got people talking, and sometimes that's all you need. Serve it as a side dish or a dessert, and you've got a recipe that's ready in about 10 minutes. Minute steak with onion gravy. Thin cuts of beef, quickly seared and smothered in onion gravy, made for a hearty meal in no time. Minute steak was a grocery store staple in the 70s, perfect for busy cooks who wanted real flavor fast. The onion gravy was the star, with its rich, savory flavor that soaked into the meat and mashed potatoes. Some folks added a splash of Worcestershire or a sprinkle of herbs for extra flavor. Serve it with a side of green beans or cornbread, and you've got dinner that's ready in about 10 minutes. This was the kind of meal that could get you through a long week. The smell of onions frying in the pan was enough to make anyone's mouth water. If you're looking for a quick, comforting dinner, this is the way to go. Spam Mac Deluxe. Spam and Mac Deluxe was comfort food with a crunchy crown. Imagine a baked macaroni and cheese casserole, but loaded with cubed spam, then topped with a thick layer of crushed cornflakes. It was salty, cheesy, creamy, and crispy all at once. A full sensory experience built from pantry staples. Spam, for all its stigma, was the unsung hero of the 70s dinner table. It did not ask for much, and it gave you everything. Families made it when budgets were tight, when groceries were sparse, when time was short, and it always delivered. Somewhere along the way, it got shelved as too old-fashioned, too salty, too honest. But Spam and Mac Deluxe still lives in handwritten notes and family cookbooks, waiting for someone brave enough to bring it back. Quick grits, casserole, instant grits, cheddar cheese, and a pat of butter. Baked until bubbly and golden. Quick grits, casserole was a breakfast for dinner favorite in the 70s, and a testament to Southern ingenuity. The cheese would melt into the grits, creating a creamy, comforting dish that was ready in about 10 minutes. Some folks added a handful of cooked sausage or a sprinkle of green onions for extra flavor. Serve it with a side of bacon or toast, and you've got dinner that's ready in no time. The smell of cheese and grits baking in the oven was enough to make anyone's mouth water. You'll be wishing you made a double or triple batch. Apple butter yogurt parfait. Layered apple butter, vanilla yogurt, and crunchy granola. This parfait was the health food of its day. Quick to assemble and endlessly customizable, it offered a sweet start or finish to any meal. In the 70s, yogurt was just becoming trendy, and this recipe made it downright irresistible. The apple butter added a touch of nostalgia, while the granola provided a satisfying crunch. Some folks added a sprinkle of cinnamon or a drizzle of honey. Serve it in a fancy glass or a mason jar, and you've got a treat that's ready in about 10 minutes. Cucumber cream cheese tea sandwiches. A nod to Southern hospitality, these dainty sandwiches were a staple at bridal showers and garden parties. Thinly sliced cucumbers, herbed cream cheese, and soft white bread. Simple, refreshing, and ready in minutes, these sandwiches were the epitome of elegance, perfect for any occasion. The cream cheese was often mixed with a sprinkle of dill or a dash of garlic powder for extra flavor. The real fun was in the presentation, cutting the sandwiches into fancy shapes or trimming off the crusts. Serve them with a side of tea or lemonade, and you've got a snack that's ready in about 10 minutes. If you're looking for a quick, elegant appetizer, this is the way to go. Fried bologna sliders. Bologna was the lunch meat of choice, and frying it made it a delicacy. Stack fried bologna on small buns with a swipe of mustard and a pickle slice, and you've got a snack that's equal parts nostalgia and comfort. In the 70s, this was considered party food, and it still brings a smile. The bologna would curl up at the edges and get crispy, while the inside stayed tender and juicy. Some folks added a slice of cheese or a dollop of relish. Serve them at your next gathering, and you've got a crowd pleaser that's ready in no time. Buttermilk Pie Milkshake. Blend buttermilk, vanilla ice cream, a splash of lemon, and a sprinkle of nutmeg for a milkshake that tastes just like Grandma's pie. This recipe was a clever way to use up leftover buttermilk and cool off on a hot southern afternoon. In the 70s, this was the kind of treat that could make any day feel special. The buttermilk added a tangy twist, while the ice cream made it creamy and indulgent. Some folks added a drizzle of caramel or a sprinkle of cinnamon. Serve it in a tall glass with a straw, and you've got a treat that's ready in about 10 minutes. Banana flip sandwich. A sweet treat from lunchboxes past. A split banana, spread with peanut butter and marshmallow fluff, sandwiched between slices of soft bread. Quick, fun, and a little bit messy, this sandwich was a favorite with kids and adults who never quite grew up. This was the kind of lunch that could make any day feel special. The peanut butter added a nutty richness, while the marshmallow fluff made it sweet and gooey. Serve it with a glass of milk or a side of chips, and you've got a super quick lunch. And there you have it, 25 forgotten 10-minute Southern recipes, each with its own story and a dash of Southern charm. If you remember any of these from your childhood, let me know in the comments. Or if you're brave enough to try Velveeta fudge or sardine salad, I want to hear how it goes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who loves a taste of the past. Until next time, keep those old cookbooks handy. You never know what treasures you'll find.